In this episode, another flotilla of probes heads off for Eve. Jeb and Bob worry about getting caught up in the fine print, and I finally try to resolve my nitrogen issues. All of this and more is coming up right now. Hello everyone, and welcome, and don't worry, you did not miss an episode, although this looks like I am on my final approach to Eve. I can assure you I'm not. I'm actually in simulation mode. This vessel actually hasn't even launched yet. It'll be launching very, very soon in this episode, but I just wanted to, now that I have encountered Eve's sphere of influence, I can now have Eve as one of my simulation options. And I just wanted to make sure that this crash can hold to the retrograde vector and safely descend through Eve's atmosphere. Though I do have some funky wackiness going on with the relay that I'm leaving behind to relay the signal. Oh, I should make sure to arm this parachute first. That is so funky. You see out there? Did it again. See how that relay's just kind of jerk? It's so weird. Okay, something's not quite right in simulation mode. I do have a signal though, so the relay is working. And this thing should descend now autonomously. I have smart parts to deal with the deployment of the appropriate things at the appropriate altitudes. All I want to know is, will this thing go through the atmosphere properly? But it turned out that, well, the crash simulation system was conspiring against me. Oh, what the heck? It just ended. It's not going to let me simulate inside the atmosphere? Oh, man. Maybe I need to get into Eve's atmosphere before I can simulate in Eve's atmosphere. It won't give me this preview, damn you! We're not going to be able to find out whether this is going to work or not until we are actually doing it. Well, either way, I'll be launching this thing momentarily along with its partner craft, the Eve-1. But before we get to that, I do have some things I got to check up on around Duna. Our signal strength now is at 2%, so this is why we're having so much trouble with these data transmissions. So what I'm going to do, because I have these Ike ones, I'm going to just delete these ones. At least give this thing, Ike's got nothing to do. And it's orbiting, there's an Ike 1 orbiting Ike right now. And it can just do all this stuff. Oh! For some reason my broken solar panel just extended. Is it working? It's not working though, it just extended. That's funny, but whatever. This guy also has a full hard drive. And clearly probably exactly the same signal. I knew the signal was going to be sketchy. I should have just put on like even one more of these antennas. Would have probably made all the difference, but I got what I got. We'll just have to leave them, but probably pretty soon. I mean, what's happening, of course, if we scroll out here, is that as Duna and Kerbin go about in their orbit, remember Kerbin's the faster planet because it's in the lower orbit, they're pulling away from each other, and eventually we're going to lose this signal. But at some point, Kerbin will come around and we'll pick it up again. Whether these things will actually be working by that point, who knows? Alright, well let's get back, because we got a few launches to do. So here it is. This is the Eve-1. And this actually is the first rocket I got with a skipper engine on the bottom. My first 2.5 meter engine there on the bottom. It is a tall and ungainly thing, but believe it or not, I did test this thing and it did fly. So again, we need to go into a specific parking orbit that's given to us by the transfer window planner. So we're going to open this here up, and we have a specific ejection angle we want to do and a specific inclination. So let's do one thing at a time. So 153.35 degrees to retrograde, and you might recall that I wrote myself a little KOS script, run launch time, and you put in that ejection angle of 153.35. 153.35. And it tells you that I should launch at 0:10 or 3:10. And right now it is 5:21, so we're getting very close to the 0:10. Now, I need to know, am I going to be launching towards the north or towards the south with this particular inclination? Here, let's put on the ejection angle. That will help. There's our ejection angle. And again, the idea is that we launch 90 degrees from the ejection angle. So that must be happening at the time 0:10. So 0:10, a little bit in the future, we're going to be right about here, 90 degrees to this ejection angle. Let's close these details. I need to open those details again. Our ejection inclination is to be negative 5.44. Let's pop that over there. So negative 5.44 means that as we eject out this way, we want to be going to the south 5.4 degrees. So we need to, because of where this is, this needs to be there. Yes, so we need to go down towards the south. That is going to work. So we're going to go, yes, into an inclination of negative 5.44 degrees. If I were launching over here, which must be at the other time of 3:10, then I would have been going to the north to get the appropriate inclination. It's all so much fun. And this fella has itself a sister craft, so while that is going, oh, it's going to take 2 hours and 25 minutes to recondition the launch pad, but that's okay. While it's doing that, we'll roll out. Let me roll this out while it's reconditioning. Not the Palm one, the landers, the Eve landers there. It's rolling it out, but it's going to be the reconditioning that's going to have to be the thing that's going to limit it. And we are off. Brand new lifter, which is pretty obvious. Got a mainsail down there on the bottom, and I'm sure hiding in there is a Valiant engine for our upper stage. That's different. Haven't used the Valiant engine in a while. And of course, we'll take a look at the probe once we're up. Once the fairing is deployed and we're getting ready for our ejection burn. And now that it's flying, I don't necessarily mind the look of this rocket. I kind of like the sort of weight that's down here at the bottom. Oh! Just hit our target apoapsis of 100 kilometers. Inclination 5.48. A little bit high, but shouldn't be an issue. And in the atmosphere, and now we are deploying all kinds of deployable stuff. Oh, I like it very, very much. There we go. And we have ourselves a 405 circularization burn. Still 562 meters per second left in the booster here. These are... Let's get a look at them. Aim up here. These are new antennas. No more sketchy communications for me, at least in the inner part of the solar system. So the Communitron HG-55. This is a relay antenna. Is it? No, it's not. I'm getting myself mixed up. No, the relay antennas is on the next one. That's right. These are direct antennas, but should be easily able to provide communication from Gilly. And there's only a single probe on here, but it's going to do a lot. The plan is for it to come in around Eve. Then I want to go to Gilly. We're going to orbit Gilly for a while. We're going to do all kinds of mapping. You can see we got the multispectral analyzer on here, as well as the low-res altimeter on the bottom from SCANsat. And it'll be going around Eve. And then it should, hopefully, fingers crossed, have enough delta V to break Eve's orbit once, or Gilly's orbit once it's done orbiting, mapping all of Gilly. Get itself to Eve, and then do much the same thing in and around Eve. That's his plan. It's for the most part a mapping satellite. But right now we're performing that final insertion burn. put us into our parking orbit, and then we'll set up our ejection. We'll see how it goes. So we should be performing our burn right at this ejection angle. Again, the idea being that as we burn prograde, we will burn towards the south at this particular inclination, and that takes care of the normal component of our burn, saving us a little bit of delta V. Let's see how it goes. So, according to this, I just need to put in, what's the prograde part? 1036.1. There we go. And there's our burn, and we'll scroll out. Where is Eve? Oh, we got to target Eve. Target Eve, and it's close. It's close. Didn't quite get the before I did this, and it was like bang on right away. So it doesn't always work that way, but you can see it's pretty close. Oh, that could be why I'm off by a little bit. Notice that this window is still not for another day. Silly McBilly face. What if we simply pop to head orbits here? 5 hours and 6 minutes away. So let's just do this. Next burn. We'll make this work. 5 hours. 6 minutes. Perfect. Okay. Now we're launching right at the time we're supposed to, or ejecting right at the time we're supposed to be. Now we'll play with this. Okay, we're going to go with that. I mean, I can tweak this, and really what I kind of want to do, we'll make it work. One way or another, we'll make this work. But I think that's a nice one. Okay, so it's 1050.28. A little bit more than the 1038 it was predicting, but honestly, I really can't complain. This is not coming for another, what do we got here? 5 hours and 3 minutes, so that gives us time to get our other rocket in play. Alright, so we're just time warping now. This is my collection of Eve. I called it Eve landers, but there's actually a Gilly lander in there as well, and we're time warping till 3:10. And since at 0:10 we launch towards the south, this time we're going to be launching towards the north. But since it's the same, is it 5.44? I think it was. Yes, 5.44 degrees to the north. Again, 100-kilometer orbit. Whoops. But since it's the same window here, it's the same parking orbit, everything is the same. This is a vessel that I think I mentioned last episode was really driving me crazy. And the reason is because the Eve landers in particular are in these universal storage containers. They're in here and in here, and they seem reasonably aerodynamic, but they are not. And I think that's true for all the universal storage containers. So once I took the fairing and instead just extended it right over that, thing flew like a dream. So that was all what the problem was. In fact, even with the extra mass associated with the bigger fairing, this thing became suddenly more efficient. It could get into low Kerbin orbit and have more fuel left over when it was all done. Just be overcoming the drag that it had to deal with. So there was a lot of drag at the top. Kind of still a bit of a monstrosity. It is now running on 4 of these Kodiak engines, and in the middle here is just a simple swivel engine that's going to be left over for the upper stage of all this. Everything is asparagously staged. We're getting up to our first stage separation in just a couple moments. We're going to lose these 2 big ones. There they go. Honestly, now it doesn't look as bad to me. This now looks okay. Oh, I also can see I got here some of these Cub Verner engines. That's to give it some extra thrust at the top end here, which it needed. And also for when I was really struggling with attitude control, I put them on there and never really did take them off. They might not be entirely needed, but we're on there now. Just lost those radio boosters. Now we're all onto the little swivel engine here. You can see it's starting to break out the 2.5 meter parts. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. Of course, those aren't even near the biggest parts you can get, but it's starting to feel big for me. Oh, there go all of our fairings going every which way. These were the universal storage containers I'm talking about that were creating all of that drag. Lots of individual fairing pieces on this one. I just had fairings going up, fairings going down. Seemed to work alright. And these two are my two trash cans that hopefully will land on Eve. And then up here is a very simple ghillie lander, because landing on ghillie, well, is a little bit more like rendezvousing and docking with ghillie than it is like actually landing. There's tons of RCS, including RCS pointing in the wrong direction to just kind of push it down to the surface. This guy's encounter with Eve will represent, I think, the conclusion of our Season 2 of this series. But do not worry, there most certainly will be a Season 3. It's just the theme for Season 3 will be a different thing. Some throttle and... nicey nice. Very happy with that. Okay, so that burn is now complete. Program has ended. We can now lose the lower stage, which really isn't very big here. That's mostly cowling. There's the whole transport on its way to Eve. Okie dokie. We'll get this one set up in much the same way as we just did the previous one. Alright. We'll live with that. Again, we'll tweak that in tighter into the future. And that burn is in 2 hours and 40 minutes. So once again... oh, I should make sure... ooh, how close are these two burns together? Okay, they're not that close together. That's good. About to say, if I have to be a little careful. I have to do these burns separately from each other, so I do have to. There's over, what's that? 30. There's over 30 minutes between the two. That's enough time for me to get from one to the other. Now that this is in the sunlight, let's take a little bit of a closer look at it. Get rid of the alarm clock. So this is our transfer stage, and I have been now upgrading these engines. So these engines, it doesn't say high, but that is now high quality. I've been upgrading these antennas. Speaking again, new antennas. This is the RA-15 relay antenna. As the name implies, these are relays because this chunk of it is an active probe that is going to stay in orbit about Eve and about Gilly. We're going to do both. And it's going to be relaying signals to the landers. And the landers for their antennas only have single communitrons, but that's easy to communicate between the relay and the communitron, and the relay should also provide good communication back to Kebin. So that allows me not to put really small antennas on these guys. We'll see how it goes. It should. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. That's it. I'm gonna stop talking. I don't want to jinx it. On the top here we have our Gilly lander, which is much more, landery-like. It doesn't have to worry about descending through an atmosphere or anything like that. Powered entirely by RCS, with RCS thrusters pointing both up and down, because we'll probably need those pushing it down thrusters to land on Gilly. And then two identical Eve trash cans that are nice and compact and designed to plunge through the atmosphere of Eve, hopefully landing on the bottom. There's going to be as these will descend with the antennas retracted. There are smart parts aboard to do all the deployment, including deploying that antenna when it gets down to hopefully a safe altitude. All right, let's get her done. Oh, a little bit of bouncy bounce there, but it seems to be okay. So being pushed right now by good old Terrier engine. The old reliable Terrier engine on its way hopefully towards E, but we can take a closer look at the probe here. I'll show you my favorite part on this probe. It is right down here. These guys, they're itty bitty. The PRBE-4 liquid fuel tanks. I think, I'm going to guess again universal storage for these. They are the teeniest, tiniest fuel tanks ever. Look at it. 2.02 units of liquid fuel in them. They're just adorable. I love them, but I needed just a little bit more fuel, and I thought, that's perfect. I wish I had these before when I was building like my relays out to the Mimbus and the Moon, where the actual relay itself needed so little fuel. I just used monopropellant to provide what little that it needed. But if I had these tiny little guys, I probably would have done something else. They're very cute. Otherwise, anything else exciting and new on here? You can see we're using the R-4 dumpling external tanks for some fuel. There are spider engines down there, LV-1R spiders. 3 of them down there providing the thrust. But of course, this thing's still going to be on here for a little while. Oh, we're already towards the end. Pay attention. Let's focus on Eve. How did we do? Burn is complete. Good enough. I'm fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to get too... Well, you know what? No, I am going to get picky. Screw you. I am going to get picky. Let's take that out. Should be able to burn this just a little bit more. So we're just going to turn this thrust like teensy-weensy. Hope this doesn't turn into a mistake. Whoops. There we go. Oh yeah, this wasn't a mistake. There we go. There we are. Not a mistake doing that. That saves you quite a bit on the correction end of it. Alright, this is off on its way. I don't think there's really anything I need to do with it, but we do have another vessel on its way. Probably noticing, I hate these messages that just keep coming up. These are Kerbalism. Every time you change scenes, all of these warnings come up that you've lost contact with every single probe that's out there. And then all these messages come up right afterwards saying, relax, no, they're there, we're fine. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. It is what it is. First use of the Cheetah engine. Yeah, that tells me actually the engine plume is really the stock plume, so this sort of tells me, I think, that this is a expansion pack engine, because the restock mod changes all of the engine plumes, but I don't think it's set up to deal with any of the DLC stuff, so that's what I get. You know, now that I'm seeing that stock plume, it's really kind of depressing. Either way, only 47 seconds left in the burn, so this shouldn't take too long. There it comes. Whoop. And just stopped. Shows you how quickly that was coming in, even at low thrust. So once again, we're going to close this. We're going to close this. We're going to come back to here. We're going to severely nerf the thrust on that, just to bring that in nice and close. So. Gotta watch my engine ignitions, don't I? Sometimes I keep forgetting about that kind of stuff. I think this thing has a lot of ignitions in it. It still has 21 ignitions. We're fine. Oh, and I should put the thrust back up again. Alright. Again, I don't think there's much else to do, so let's get back to other things. Okay, we do have a contract for the Panther Mk1. Messed this up last time because we had oxidizer aboard in this bicoupler. I've now taken the oxidizer out, so that is fine, and all we've got to do is get up to 20 kilometers. You can see we got our pilot Jebediah, and along for the ride we have Bob, our scientist. Is there science to do? I have the atmospheric fluid variable. I'm losing track. We have, this is the atmosphere, and we are doing the wing experiment. How is our wing experiment doing in around Kebin? So, well, I got lots of wing to collect over the highlands, so might as well go do that. And I am not going to collect it over the mountains because that is entirely sketchy, because you're not allowed to be above 6 kilometers in altitude, and that's sea level altitude, which barely puts you above the mountaintops. In fact, some of the mountaintops might even be a little higher than that. I'm not going to go around doing circles because it takes 10 minutes, 10.5 minutes to do it. But why don't we go somewhere else? We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I want to fly this thing. We can go like to the northern ice shelf and to an ice cap, or the southern ice shelf. Actually, let's go north. We'll see if we can get tundra ice caps and the northern ice shelf at the same time. Why don't we do that? What do you think, Jeb and Bob? I think so. I think this jet should have the legs for it. We're going to go over to the highlands, start collecting. Whoa! But we do have to get to a 20-kilometer altitude, so we'll sort of do that. Let's not lose too much thrust here. And that'll polish off this contract, and then we'll do some sciencey stuff. This thing did run into hard drive limitations because of limited space in here. But these Kerbal Engineer systems, they are hard drives. There is 25.6 megabytes of hard drive space in each of those. And that is, I'm pretty sure, a pretty significant portion. Like, what's in this one? 32. So it more than doubled the amount of hard drive space. Okay, we are not exactly building speed anymore, are we? All right, let's punch the afterburners and get our altitude up. I'm trying to keep speed building. More speed, more thrust. Oh, I think I botched this. Yeah, I didn't build up enough speed when my altitude was lower. Oh, I might have mouthed this. I know this thing can get up to right. Okay, off. I flamed out there for a second. Let's build up speed again. Not doing a very good job of doing this in an efficient way. Is that thing not on? Requirements not met. How are the requirements not met? Not worrying about that right now. I don't understand why I should be. It says under 6 kilometers. I need a level. You have to have a level 1 pilot? Are you kidding me? I think so. I think the pilot, oh my gosh, one thing at a time. I think this isn't going because the pilot has to be a level 1 pilot. And Jeb is a level 2 pilot. Are you joking me? Wow. Wow, okay, well that changes all of that. Let's get to that 20-kilometer altitude first. We'll think about science later. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty good. Afterburners on, and I'm paying attention to thrust now. I got the engine menu pin there, the top right. And this time we're going to build up more speed down here in the lower part of the atmosphere. Now we're building tons of thrust. Look at the thrust is still increasing. That's what I should have been paying attention to before. As long as you can keep building thrust, you are building clearly speed, but as I'm pitched up a bit, I'm also building altitude in a reasonably efficient way. Let's get there. Come on. Up, up, up. There we go. We got this easy. Cut that off. Afterburners off. Keep that locked on prograde. I cannot believe that level 1 nonsense. That is so frackin' ridiculous. So, yeah, there's no point going anywhere. I'll have to find a level 1 pilot, but I guess we'll do this contract, right? Fly up to, we're at, up, or there. Falling, okay, I guess we gotta go back to the runway, but I'm up to, can people confirm, please, for me? I am up to 20 kilometers, and way over 20 kilometers in altitude, because I had this on the altimetry part. Oh, maybe that was the issue. Does that make... Maybe I still was too high. Maybe. Okay. Okay, I might... Because I had this on terrain altitude rather than sea level altitude. Maybe I was still too high. Maybe I shouldn't be so harsh. We'll give it. Let's get back down. We'll see if it turns on. As I think, you know, like... complaining that Jeb is overqualified would be pretty silly. These are mountains. I want mountains. Well, mountains will work. Actually, these are nice mountains. Right, these are very nice mountains. There it goes. Okay, so okay. I apologize, Kerbalism. But you know what? I might. Oh, we got highlands now too. I might just do circles around here. This is not as high as those other mountains. Kind of alternating between mountains and highlands here. Okay. This is working. You know, if it wasn't for me botching that first attempt at getting to an altitude of 20 kilometers, I might not have found this lower patch of mountains. What is it Bob Ross says? There are no mistakes, just happy accidents. And you know what else? I don't think I'll end up doing the going north and going to the tundra and the ice caps and stuff. I think I've wasted enough fuel. I'm worried about not being able to get myself back, so we'll save that for another mission. But after a little bit of spinning around and hopefully not getting too dizzy, we ended up collecting all of the highlands and all of the mountain science. Then it was just a matter of getting ourselves back to the runway. We got this. This best go green. I'm going to be very angry. Go green, go green, go green, go green. I'm here. I hate you so much. You saw it. I did it. I don't care what anybody else says. It's done. And I am completely justified in using the cheat menu to give me this and moving on. Well, this has become a familiar sight. Another module on its way to Kebin Station, using the exact same lifter I've been using for the last 2 modules. Yeah, you might be noticing that Kebin Station's getting kind of big. There is a bit of a purpose behind that, but why don't we talk a little bit about here. I do have a contract, which is simply to add a lab module to Kebin Station, and as you can see right here, that's exactly what we're doing. We're bringing up a lab module, but it also has, if I click over to here, another buttload of oxygen storage, because I am finding when I look at Kebin Station, let's switch this to Kebin Station, that if I look at supplies, it's oxygen that always seems to be the one that they are in the shortest supply of. So I'm bringing up again more oxygen, especially with all the time warping I've been doing with these interplanetary missions. I do want to make sure my Kerbals are staying safe. And now that the fairings are gone, you can see the other thing we have on here is the cupola module. And that's to give them a view, and that's not just, there's a game thing in here with Kerbalism about giving them a view. It's in here somewhere. But if you give them a view, their stress level goes down just a little bit. So we thought this, I'm pretty sure this is what gives them a view, is the cupola module. And the other thing I want to do with it is I want to again do some experimenting with trying to create some sort of airlock that they can use and experiment with controlling the amount of nitrogen I can I got some more ideas, and we're going to play around with that while we hook this all up. I did make sure that both of these 2 modules have pressure control, so that we'll see how it goes when we get up there. Oh, here's where we're at. Yep, so I'm still on Kebin Station here, and if we go to comfort, it says that under panorama it says no. So I'm hoping once they have the cupola module, I'm hoping that that's what gives them panorama. Plants, you can also see is no. I have just unlocked a greenhouse, so I have to at some point start playing with that. And firm ground means some sort of rotation gravity thing. I would assume is what that means, that they can feel some gravity. So trying to make them feel better. Right now our comfort is modest. That's not so bad. Alright, let's get ourselves there. And as our newest module closes in on Kebin Station, I'd like to welcome aboard my newest patron, Felipe de Sousa. Thank you, Felipe. Your support is very much appreciated, as is the support of all of my patrons, as is the support of all of you who subscribe and like these videos so that they feed the YouTube algorithm and get these episodes seen by more and more people. But you know, oh wait, I'm just remembering I got something else here to show you. The other thing that this thing has is a waste processor that, as I recall, if I can put it on here maybe, the waste processor, there we go, uses electric charge and takes solid waste and uses that to produce ammonia. And I have found out what the use of ammonia is. The ammonia is used with the greenhouse to fertilize your plants. So I put on more solid waste storage on this thing and ammonia storage along with the extra oxygen storage. Let's see. My approach here is a little weird because I'm going for the docking port that's at the back. I'm hoping, actually I think I gotta come this way. Oh dear. I don't know now. Oh, I didn't put... That's why this is unbalanced. Oh shoot. I only have RCS thrusters here at the back. Remember before we got our engineer to go up here and put some RCS thrusters onto the actual module itself. I think I'm going to live with what I got. Get below onto the proper side of the station. You can use a mod called Docking Alignment Indicator, which does make this easier, but then it's a separate window. And so that's why I'm going with just simply this Navball Docking Alignment Indicator, which is simply just this red icon to help you line up the ports. Severely unbalanced reaction blocks coupled with a rather awkward docking here. Well, we'll make it work. I'm just right now just trying to maneuver the purple icon towards the red icon. Which I think I'm doing it too quickly. Let's get this. Yeah. Going right by, going right by, going right by, going right by. No, 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 no. Oh dear, oh dear. Back off, back off. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. There. Okay, I've completely muffed that. That did not go well. Okay. Round two. Round two. Okay, where's there? There's that prograde icon. Okay, now that's feeling better. Up, 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 up. Okay, we have this now. Well, whatever. It's a done deal now. I was going just too quickly. It's hard to judge your... Now my relative speed is much smaller. I was just coming sideways so quickly that I couldn't slow myself down fast enough laterally with my lack of thrusters. Oh, it feels a little better. Slow and steady wins the race. Bop. Okay. Alright, we are aboard. Let's see, how are we doing in info? Do they now have a panorama? They do! Yay, panorama! The factor is up to 70%. My comfort is now good. And this contract is complete. So awesome. Alright, now, what we're gonna do is play a bit with airlocks. So, I'm going to try and use this one again. So, this is my Mark 1 landing can. Tried to use this last episode. I was turning off the pressure control, but somebody was pointing out maybe what you need to turn off is the habitat, because they noticed that when I guess it was Madby, yeah, it must have been Madby, when she EVA'd, pressure control still said pressurizing. Now this one, habitat says enabled. Let's see what happens. So right now I have 151 EVAs. This is also about getting the oxygen up. Yeah, they have 198 days of oxygen, so that's good. But we have, that's the number I want to remember, 151 EVA. So let's play with this. We're going to just experiment. We're going to finally try and figure this out. So, habitat. I want to disable the habitat. So it's depressurizing. Okay. Okay, that's a good sound. Can I transfer Madby to here? Okay. Is she in there now? I keep noticing this transfer, and she is in there. And now if I take a look at this capsule, it says it's still depressurizing. Oh, the habitat's been enabled again. Can't disable small lander with crew inside. So it won't let you disable the habitat with a crew inside. So as soon as you move somebody in there, it automatically enables the habitat. So turning off the habitat does not allow you to use that as an airlock. Okay, so that's one experiment. Now we're on to experiment number 2. Let's transfer Madby again. Transfer crew. Put her into the cupola module. So now she's down here. Make sure, yep. And we're gonna get rid of this because I don't think it's... This does have pressure control. This does not. So what we're gonna do, again, I probably can't disable the habitat. I cannot. But let's turn off pressure control again. And it stopped. This whole thing just might not work the way I'm thinking it works. Okay, so we're gonna EVA our engine. Here, we're gonna keep this, actually pin this menu because I want to keep watching it. EVA. Okay, let's pop back. And it says now it's pressurizing. So let's turn off that habitat. It's now depressurizing. I lost 2 EVAs in doing that, just opening up the door. Now, I've been thinking it might have to do with crew, but it might have to do as well with volume. And the volume, does it say anywhere in this menu what the volume is of this thing? You can see it in the VAB. The interior volume of the cupola module is higher than it is for this landing can. I mean, just looking at them, you can see that. So this number might be based on volume rather than being based on crew capacity. Alright, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this depressurize. This one is still pressurized. Okay. I don't know. Let's get back to Mab. We got to do some strutting anyway. We'll get that stuff done. I am trying to expand this station. One reason is because of the flight. There's this experiment that requires, it's called the float experiment, that requires a crazy quantity of volume in your station, interior volume. And so I'm slowly just expanding on the interior volume. Eventually I'll get to the point where I can run that particular experiment. The second reason I'm continually expanding this station is I do have, not that I'm getting to it fairly closely, but I do have a space camp contract, which is to bring up something like 15 trainees. It's a number kind of like that. Bring them up to the station, so I gotta be able to get the station up to 15. It can easily house 15 Kerbals now. And keep them up here And then at the end of it all, a certain, I think like half of them become part of your astronaut corps. That to me sounded like fun. Yeah, this is looking alright. I got bracing going this way, this way, this way, this way. I think I now have... You know what? I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. I think it's pretty good. There's 3 of them on this lab module. 3 should do it. 3 makes... Yeah. I think that looks good. Okay, let's put the wrench back. And then we'll try out our airlock. So let's find. She was going through. Well, again, I use the word airlock pretty loosely because we don't know that it's an airlock, do we? Trying to make it an airlock. So we're not going to put her quite aboard yet. I want to check on the. There she is. Okay, so let's not go aboard. Switch over to the station. And we're looking at EVAs are still at 149. And this module is still depressurizing. I think it depressurizes just by, you know, what leaks out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have her board and see what happens. Alright, what is our situation? Oh, our EVAs are still 149. EVAs are 149. Habitat is now enabled. Pressure control, we can turn that back on again. We only lost 2 EVAs on that one. And that just might make sense just because this is so big, right? That might actually simply make sense now. So I think that's the thing to do. I don't know. I'm really confused. Because you can't turn off and on the habitat with a Kerbal in it. And when you move a Kerbal into one that's off, it automatically turns on. I'll have to figure it out. Either way, station is growing. What's the capacity now? There's 2 in here, 3, 4. And then that is 8 more, so that's 12. 8 more here makes 20. And 8 more here makes 28. Plus, of course, 3 in there. So I can get a lot of Kerbals up here now if I wanted to. Feeling pretty good. I think this is... I'm looking at this and I think it's alright. Now I should be having... I now have waste control. We're starting to fill our waste full of poop. We have... Oh, I'm already full of ammonia. You know, I'm wondering if I sent that ammonia can up full. I might have. Whatever. We'll, at some point in the future, put up a greenhouse and try and figure out how all that stuff works. But I think what I need to do right now, I need to get rid of this guy and check out the view. Fortunately, it's not pointing towards... Oh, you can just barely see the rim of Kebin there. But I think this is going to finish off Kebin Station for a while and finish off this episode. I thank you for watching and hope to see you again next time. Oh, radiation scan from Ike finally came in. I guess that's something.